Hi everyone, super excited today. I'm not in my new filming space as you can see. However, I have no builders on site today, so I can film in the daytime, which means I can do something that I haven't done in a really long time, and that's do a singular foundation review from start to finish, applying it first thing in the morning, wearing it throughout the day and doing check-ins for you, and then filming in the evening to show you how it's worn. Haven't done this for such a long time. I've missed it. I know a few of you have said that you miss my singular foundation reviews as well. I try and team them all in at the minute to a full-blown roundup, but it's still slightly challenging, so I've not done one of those for ages. Anyway, we're going to get straight on with it. Today we are going to be reviewing the brand new foundation from Guerlain. It's the Terracotta Le Teint. If you're new here, hi, my name's Gemma. I upload new content on YouTube every single week. If you're liking what you're watching at any point during this video, please click on that like button, the subscribe button, and the notification bell. So this is the Guerlain Terracotta Le Teint foundation. The bottle is a frosted glass bottle with a signature tortoiseshell colour lid. It's chunky, but it's not too heavy. It's really nice to hold, and it does have a pump. This is £47 in the UK. You get 35ml, which is slightly more than the standard 30ml of other foundations, and it comes in 30 different shades, which I believe is 16 variations with 3 different undertones. I've gone for the shade 0N, which is a neutral undertone and is perfection on my skin tone. If you are my shade twin, you will be 0N. If you are a lighter skin tone than mine, you are going to struggle with this shade range because 0N is the fairest of the shades. This is supposed to give a medium to high coverage. It's a buildable formula with a natural luminous matte finish, and the consistency of the product is really quite strange. It's extremely lightweight, it's loose, but it holds its shape on the back of the hand. Weirdly, this is not runny, but it feels so lightweight, almost weightless. So I can't explain the formula any better than that, but once you try it, you will completely understand what I mean. On the website, this says that it has the lightness and radiance of a powder, but the perfection of a foundation. It's got 24-hour wear and also 24-hour hydration. It's a transfer-proof formula, and it's really innovative because it's got perfecting powders within the formula that create a flawless, natural matte complexion, but it's also got light catching particles within the formula as well to ensure that you have that fresh, luminous, glowy look. So quite frankly, with this foundation, it's incredibly natural and you get the best of both worlds. This does contain alcohol and also a fragrance, so if you are sensitive to those two ingredients, you're going to want to give this one a miss. However, the fragrance for me, which is the signature Guerlain fragrance and is quite floral, isn't overly strong, so as soon as it hits the skin for me, I can't smell it anymore. Although this foundation includes a high level of alcohol, which I know a lot of people find incredibly drying, this also includes some lovely nourishing and hydrating ingredients to hopefully counteract the drying out capabilities of the alcohol that's quite high up the inky list. So we've got argan oil, camelina sativa oil, rapeseed oil, and glycerin. This applies to the skin and blends out completely effortlessly. It feels like silk on the skin. It's really quite cooling and calming on my skin. It just feels so lightweight. It definitely does what it says on the website. Extremely lightweight, but very, very natural looking. One pump of this foundation is all that I needed to cover the entire skin and a little bit down the neck, and got, I would say, a full light coverage. I don't think this is medium coverage yet. However, as you'll see, this is definitely buildable, and a quarter of a pump extra on the back of my hand really effectively built up the coverage on my cheeks where I have a little bit of scarring and just completely blurred everything out. You could not see any scarring left on my cheeks after a tiny bit more formula. All in all, on first application, I was really impressed with this foundation. It sinks into the skin beautifully, it doesn't sit on the surface, which means you don't get that tacky feel on the surface of the skin. Once this dries down, it's dried down, and if you touch the face, it doesn't transfer, so incredibly impressed with that. It also didn't sink into any fine lines, wrinkles, any open pores, so I didn't get that polka dot effect on the surface of the skin. Watch this space, I'm going to wear it all day, things may change, but I will check in with you a little bit later on. One more thing I want to mention before I disappear and get on with the rest of my day, probably film another video while it's all quiet here. It is bliss, honestly. I don't think Ralph knows what to do with himself because it is so quiet here, and it is never quiet here. Anyway, I digress. I have powdered my T-zone, so my T-zone looked a little bit too glowy for me, so I powdered my chin just around the corners of my nose, in between my brows and the centre of my forehead. So just wanted to make you aware, it didn't feel like it needed powdering, but I just wanted to dim down that glow slightly. So I haven't powdered my cheek area or my neck or around the perimeter of my forehead either. So we are going to see how this wears today. I will check in with you in a little bit. Welcome back. I know it's been a split second for you, but it has been a full 10 hours for me, slightly over 10 hours to be exact. So there is a fly in this room. Not quite sure if you can hear it buzzing. It's incredibly annoying. I was hoping Ralph would be able to catch it for me. Turns out Ralph's not so good at catching flies. The foundation has been on my skin for 10 hours and it's done incredibly well. There are certain portions of my skin that I'm not so happy with, but I don't think I would have been happy with them with any foundation on today because they are super dry, but that will give you an inkling on who this foundation is actually going to suit and who it isn't. Other portions of my skin, however, still look the same as they did when I first applied this foundation, which is a major bonus for me. So let's have a look at it after 10 full hours. I have just got back from the longest walk in serious heat with Ralph. We waited until around about 8 o'clock at night so that it had cooled down somewhat before I took him outside, but it's still really humid and hot. So we walked for quite a long time. I had my sunglasses on, and during this portion of the video where I'm going to show you what my skin looks like, you will notice that there is a little bit that's lifted and caked up a little bit around my nose. Usually I would pat that in with my fingertips. For the purpose of this video, to show you exactly what it looks like after taking my sunglasses off, I didn't do that. So this is exactly what it looks like after around about a 40-minute walk with Ralph in the heat with my sunglasses on. So I think it looks incredibly good. With the oils that are in this formula, I thought it would be super shiny and cakey, and actually it is not at all. There are some dry patches on my chin that were there before I applied this foundation. When I applied it, you couldn't actually see the dryness on my chin, but as the day has evolved, those dry patches have become more evident over time. So that is definitely something to be wary of. I do have dry patches around my nose area, however, and you cannot see those at all. And I tried a different foundation on yesterday, and those dry patches were really evident. So I'm not quite sure what's gone on today. Anyway, you can't see them today, but the dry patches on my skin are definitely there. In my opinion, there's no difference in the way that the foundation looks in the areas that I powdered versus the areas that I didn't. The areas that I didn't powder lasted just as well throughout the day and look really beautiful, very flattering on my skin. This has felt so lightweight throughout the day, I forgot I'd had foundation on, and I actually scratched my jaw earlier when I had a little bit of an itch and got foundation on my finger. Other than that though, this foundation has stayed intact all day, and I can definitely say that this has been transfer proof on me. I have been touching my skin all day. This isn't tacky to the touch even after 10 hours, and nothing has lifted. Let's do the tissue test. I've run out of tissues, so a cotton pad will have to do. I'm going to press this on to my skin, and absolutely nothing has passed onto the cotton pad, even after 10 hours. Let me have a look in between my brows, which is usually my oilier area. Still nothing. So the oil is lifting, but the pigment is definitely not lifting off my skin. Super, super impressed with this foundation, especially how natural it looks. It looks like skin, even where I've layered it up on my cheeks, where it had that double layer of foundation. It still looks perfect. There's a little bit of oil around my nose area, but I mean, it's nothing to write home about. It still doesn't look cakey around that area. It just looks a little bit oily, and that's how it would look anyway, even if I didn't have foundation on. This foundation has also stayed true to shade, so it hasn't oxidized throughout the day, which is a massive positive for me. I don't always like to take foundation down my neck, so there's nothing worse than having that mask-like appearance where your neck is a different colour to your face when the day rolls on and you suddenly look in a mirror and go, ooh, oh dear, that has not happened with this foundation, so a major tick for me. So final thoughts, who is going to like this foundation? Well, somebody who likes a really natural looking finish, and yet somebody who wants a bit of coverage. If you want full coverage but you don't want to look like you have a mask on, this is definitely one of those foundations that I would urge you to try. Also somebody that wants a transfer resistant foundation, and somebody that doesn't have super, super dry skin, because on my super, super dry skin around my chin area, it doesn't look as flattering as the rest of my face. It's definitely still passable, but I wouldn't want it all over my skin if I had super dry skin all over my face. So that is definitely something to bear in mind. I cannot attest to anybody that has a really oily skin. If you have tried this and you have a really oily skin and you either really like it or you didn't get on with it, please pass your experiences and your knowledge on to the rest of the pack. I'm sure they would really appreciate that. This is one of those foundations that I would not have a second thought wearing this to a full day wedding where I know I'm going to be outside some of the day, inside some of the day, and I want my makeup to look perfect whilst dancing the night away and whilst hugging people as well. I know this isn't going to transfer off on people's clothes. So yeah, this is one of those that I would feel incredibly confident wearing to a full day event. Also knowing that this is going to look beautiful and natural without looking really heavy on my skin. So I've really, really enjoyed using it and will use it quite a bit in the future. I am going to pass this on to my mum to try to see whether she likes it as well. Watch this space. I will update you in a future video. But for now, I really hope you've enjoyed this video. Do let me know what you've thought about it in the comments section. Please don't forget to like and subscribe if you've enjoyed this content, and hit that notification bell to not miss any future videos that are very similar to this. Hope to see you all in the next one. Bye everyone.